Tamara Scott Show. Tamara has served as the state director for one of America's largest pro-life, pro-family public policy organizations. In 2007, Tamara was named one of America's top 10 most influential kingmakers by the Religion News Association. Tamara has spent years proclaiming and defending the values of a Christian worldview that is the foundation of our constitutional republic. And now, here is your host, Tamara Scott.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tamara Scott Show. It is Thursday, February 19th. We're zooming through this month, right? We're just zooming through this month. And so we come to you, we help you live God's word in today's world when the headlines hit home. And thank you for those of you who join in with us every Monday through Friday here at the network at wvwtv.com. You can see our show live. And then you can also have it complimentary for about 7 days. Then it goes behind the paywall at worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, small or reasonable subscription fee. And that way you get all of the archives to our show, as well as any show on the network, as well as Brandon's incredible library of information, his documentaries, his presentations. So that's all great for you. And then Thomas, if you want to put up the slide, we also have some shows now. Thomas is kindly putting up on Worldview Tube, Worldview Tube TV. I think it's Worldview Tube TV. How about that? I'm actually memorizing it. Worldview Tube TV on YouTube. So you can have these and have access, because some of you are wanting to share them. A lot of the eminent domain people wanted to share. We had live footage when Mark Lapka's property was being trespassed and just destroyed by people with the eminent domain whole mess. And so he was live with us on air. So we've got some of those shows that people want to go back and reflect on and look at for resources and reference. So we'll see what we can get some of those on there for you. And my thanks to our producer for doing that for us at worldviewtubetv.com. All right. We tell you we help you live God's word in today's world when the headlines hit home. We also tell you we want you to stay focused and not get frazzled, right? The other side, whoever they are, it just became apparent in 2020 that they really wanted to keep us fearful and uncertain, and just so that we were unsteady and we would be more malleable, frankly. We want you to stay focused with the plan God has for you and your family. We want you to protect your family. And so we do bring you the headlines and help you live God's word in today's world when the headlines hit home. But here's why. If he expects you to live through it, he's directed you how to do it somewhere in his word. The issue is many of us don't know his word. We often don't read his word. And I say this to myself, several Bibles around. We're so blessed in America. We all have multiple Bibles. In other countries, they would love to have one. We have multiple. Right? And it's not just having the Bibles, and then it's not just you. It's not. Don't confuse abused with used. A used Bible rather than an abused Bible. And so I've got to be better. I want to be better about digging in. I miss my study time when I could just dig in, and I don't have 4 hours a day to do that right now, like I did when I was training to be a pastor. So I just miss that. I hope you are getting your study time in as well. And you're just with the word. And someone asked one of the television evangelists, I don't know if it was Stanley or Jeremiah or who it was, what translation should we read? Because we can argue about it all day long. And he said, the one that you will read. The one that you will read, because some of them are different for different people. All right, joining me today. Well, I want to talk a couple things. We've got a couple headlines. So we've been following the battle in South Dakota being under siege with the Convention of States, just a really rotten idea. Look at the political climate around you. Look to Minnesota, no further. These people who are out protesting the arrest of criminals, aliens with criminal records, people who are here illegally, people who have gang violence, rape, murder, and yet people are out protesting their arrest. Do you not think that they wouldn't find protesters somewhere to interfere with a convention? Think about that. Beyond the outside influence of WEF, WHO, these globalists, even inside our own government, who would love to see the Constitution destroyed, frankly. And we've talked about that. You can go back and watch some of our shows this week. Tomorrow, Heidi Engelhardt joins me from South Dakota. We're finishing up President's Day celebration this week, and it's kind of a fun show. But we talked about South Dakota. Now, we pre-taped that, And so something has changed, and I want to tell you because it's really good news. We didn't know what would happen when we taped that show. Got this yesterday. Convention of States failed to get the calendar. So thank you, Jesus. The vote was 29 to 38 to 3 not voting. So that particular bill will not be going forward in South Dakota. Thank you, Jesus is right. Now, there's another bill there. They're working to fight. You've got to fight that because, like I said, there's a lot of South Dakota representatives that came in on the eminent domain, which we're thankful for. They took out folks who were wrong on that issue, but some of these folks maybe don't know the research and the information behind the concerns and risks of a convention of states. That it failed is just a huge blessing. We still have in Iowa, Ohio, and Idaho, I think we're still under threat. So prayers and call your legislators. Don't even have to know a bill number. Just say any bill that calls for a Article 5 convention. We already have the legislative process in place if we want to amend the Constitution. That is not necessary. That's why we've never done it in all the years we've had this Constitution. But good news that failed. Good news. All right, let's quickly go to this link, if we may. The link on hunting and ranching. Very quickly, Thomas. It's a Facebook link. Is this possibly true? Oregon could vote to ban hunting and fishing. And I'm hearing ranching may be included there too. Proposed law would classify both as cruelty to animals, yet hunting down federal agents is perfectly legal. Whoever posted that, Conservative Tribune. I'm just telling you, they're coming after your food source. Put it under animal rights if you wish, but they want control of your food source and they want it limited. The book Endgame, Dennis Behrman talked about famine being created in other countries for control. So do not kid yourself. But I bring it up because do not think if you open up your Constitution that there won't be loons showing up, that there won't be people with far out ideas like this, whether it's Gavin Newsom who says he wants to undo the Second Amendment with the 28th Amendment, or Professor Lessig, who wants to abolish the Electoral College and says it may be time to rewrite the Constitution. And he would welcome a runaway. So all the more reason, tell your legislators no, no, and no to a Article 5 Convention of States or Constitutional Convention. All right, so then the next one I want to go to, this was Tara Lynn Thompson that put it up, that next link on the single data center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Do you have that one available, Thomas? It's just verbiage is all it is. But Council Bluffs, Iowa, the data center, the Google data center consumed 1 billion gallons of fresh water in 2024, 1 facility, 1 year, enough to supply every home in Iowa for 5 days. The reason they need fresh water is pure chemistry. Evaporate cooling towers work by running water over the hot surfaces, letting it evaporate. 80% of the water a data center pulls in literally vanishes into the atmosphere as a steam. You can't recycle steam. The remaining 20% becomes concentrated mineral waste, calcium, magnesium, silica. Every cycle through the cooling loop makes the water more corrosive, and after another pass, it starts clogging pumps and eating through the heat exchanges. Multi-million-dollar equipment destroyed by limescale. There's more there, but you can read it. I've got it on the Tamara Scott Show page. We've talked about these with Andy Schlafly. We're going to be talking with more people about these. And they're popping up all over. And again, taking prime farmland. Why not going into desert area, sand area, inner city areas, and making a 5-story or a 6-story building rather than spread out farmland? All right, and there's another one in Oklahoma. If you can go to this little link here, the next link in the row. Karen D. Harden, last night, citizen Darren Blanchard was arrested for speaking up at a Clarence City Council meeting against a planned data center. News reports and videos show he was arrested for speaking over his allotted 3 minutes. Interesting that some others who spoke past their allotted minutes weren't arrested. Remember, this reminds me of Common Core, and our guests will remember Common Core when they started using, it wasn't just the Hegelian tactics, but there were other tactics they were using to make the individual that was speaking out the problem. Joining me today is Michelle Lintz with CPL Action, Child Protection League, and we're always thankful for the information they get us. We're talking about AI and data collection on our children. That's why I wanted to bring a couple of those in. Michelle, welcome.
Hey, Tamara, greetings from Minnesota, the California of the Midwest.
You all are kind of that embarrassing uncle of the Midwest. Yeah. So the good news is we've got so many great people up there. Some of your legislators are just incredible in the midst of all the fight that they have to do. Representative Pam Altendorf came on and talked about the statue or the plaque of the Satanist giving credit and praise to Governor Walz for not being an obstacle to them spreading Satanism. Wow. You just, yeah. And then there are people like CPL Action that brings us such great information. So in the midst of all that, you are at the heightened spiritual warfare. I think Senator Lucero on the show talked about the witchcraft and the warfare in your area. So folks, pray for Minnesota. Pray for the good, solid people in Minnesota, that they would be exalted and their voices would rise up and people would hear it. So yeah, Michelle, welcome. After I just noted these AI data centers popping up all over, we're going to talk about AI data collection on our children. Where do you want to start?
Well, I thought I would start by why is this relevant to parents? And so last year CPL did a national poll, and we polled parents of school-age children, and our main question was what were their three main concerns about their children. And the results that we got showed the first concern for their safety. So the first concern, the number one concern, was violence and safety. The number two concern of parents was that their children could get a good job and have a secure financial future. And the third concern had to do with education. And under education, when we drilled down a little bit, bullying and violence in the schools, academic outcomes and grades was number two, and gender ideology was number three on their list of concerns. And so parents of school-age children would be interested to know that the public schools are not about academics at all anymore. And, our organization has been talking about social emotional learning and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, for years now. And the reason is because DEI brings in a Marxist ideology, because everything has to be viewed through an equity lens, a lens that pits oppressors against the oppressed, which is right out of Marx and Antonio Gramsci and cultural Marxism. And social emotional learning is harder for people to understand. And because the people who push these policies and these curriculum changes, they change the meaning of words. So in other words, they use your words, but not your dictionary. So they use words that you think have one meaning, but to them have a different meaning. And social emotional learning is really the driving force, the delivery system of equity. And what we have been working on lately, and just released a video yesterday with a woman named Christina Bogus, who is on the Utah State Board of Education and has a 25-year history in education, teaching, administration, multiple degrees. And we spoke with her about, what is the on the forefront of education right now is the use of AI into the educational system. Now, we know that for years, kids have been doing a lot of their schoolwork using Chromebooks. They're collecting massive data. Data is a key component of social emotional learning. It's what they use to justify the need for more social emotional learning. And it is a collection of data on the values, attitudes, and beliefs of children. Academics today is not focused on reading, writing, and math anymore. Academics today is focused on behaviors, and that is terrifying when you think about it. And so AI.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah,
terrifying.
AI.
And I'm going to pop in here because we've got to go to a break. We'll be right back with Michelle Lentz. Stay tuned because it is terrifying and she'll break that down for you. They're not just watching your children's behaviors, they're modifying your children's beliefs. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Do you like drinking toxins that could cause cancer, inflammation, and all kinds of other autoimmune diseases? Of course you don't. Well, much of our water in America is full of toxins. That's a proven fact. WorldviewWater.net. WorldviewWater.net is your solution so that you can drink good, clean water. In fact, I give it to all my 3 fur babies, all my 3 dogs. I have one under my kitchen sink, one of these filters, as well as on my shower. WorldviewWater.net.
I need to tell you about our Bella Grace. The slender little sachet has the elixir with the collagen, astaxanthin, and cat's paw. In 2022, got an award for helping with cognitive function, and in 2023 in the sports arena for active ingredients, nutrition, and format. But the best is what we hear from so many of you. You have noticed better joint health, improved mobility, less eye strain and fatigue, helping with computer vision syndrome, visual acuity, depth perception, alleviating dry eyes, but also helping with your immunity, your stress management, endurance, less fatigue overall, not just eye fatigue, muscle recovery, mental clarity, focus, and gut health. Then there's the fun list. The firmer, smoother skin texture, fewer fine lines and wrinkles, improved skin elasticity, decreased age spots, or even skin tone, improved skin hydration, reduce oxidative stress, healthier nails, less cellulite, hair health, better sleep. Who wouldn't want any of those? Call them beauty items if you wish, but who doesn't want to feel a little bit better or more confident when you're going to present in the public square, when you're going to speak at a city council? And who just doesn't want to feel a little healthier? Maybe they're just byproducts of being healthier. More information at tamara.bellagraceglobal.com, tamara.bellagraceglobal.com. All right. Thank you so much for staying with us. Michelle Lentz is my guest, CPL Action. Michelle, take us back. AIDEISEL. Our children are under their microscope and they are collecting everything, not just about academics. This is no longer about their tests, their grades, their reading scores. This is about their beliefs, their behaviors, our family, our activities.
Right. And we have their words to prove it. It's not me saying it. It's not the guest that I did a video with earlier this week saying it. It's the words of the organizations that are partnering with the American Association of Superintendents. It's the words of Panorama Ed, which is the one of the data collecting entities that is massively gathering information on America's school children. And if you think about it, this generation of children is the AI generation. They are growing up in an artificial intelligence world. That's a new paradigm that we haven't been there before. And I had shared with you yesterday a couple of news stories that just exemplify that this is constantly changing. So Meta obtained a patent that allows them to use AI to continue the Facebook or the Meta account of people who are dead. And so they have applied for the patent to be able to continue a channel or an account of somebody who has died by taking AI interpretation of all their past posts and making new posts. And they say, this will help people to cope with, the death of a loved one. And then there was a post on X where somebody was talking about artificial intelligence and AI, and they were comparing Grok with another AI search engine called Claude, and they asked the search engine about was it okay for the Canadian government to debank the truckers, right? And Grok said, no, it wasn't okay. And Claude said it was okay. And Elon Musk commented on this and said, Grok must win. Otherwise, AI will become woke. And I'm not sure, if we have to have Grok win in order for us to survive a world of falsehoods, we're in a pretty bad spot. But, the reality for us is we can't stop AI. It's here. And we're in spiritual warfare. So we use AI, right? We have to use it for good, and we have to be aware that the enemy of us is going to use it, for nefarious purposes. And what I think parents need to understand about government schools is that the entities involved are using AI for the like exactly what you said, the shaping of the values, attitudes, and beliefs of kids. That's now the goal of public education. And so they're allowed to do this because shortly after Common Core was introduced, but right around 2015, when the Every Student Succeeds Act was passed, it included uh, the permission or the ability for schools to include additional indicators beyond test scores and graduation rates. So they gave schools permission to gather this data. And it's turbocharged now with the ability of AI to analyze that data. And so um, social emotional learning has been around for decades. Back around 25 years ago, another educational framework was established. It was called Portrait of a Graduate. And this is in all 50 states. And the first video clip explains what Portrait of a Graduate is and who the organization is that made it. And they can explain it in that 2.5 minute video better than I can if you want to play it.
All
But
right.
otherwise, if you have time, we could play that now.
Thomas, can we play that video that Michelle is mentioning? Portrait of a Graduate. There you go. Thank you.
And Battelle for Kids are the people who designed Portrait of a Graduate. And it is a national, Battelle for Kids is a national company. It's a program that, actually, I need to back up because I misstated that. Portrait of a Graduate is a national program created by an Ohio-based company called Battelle for Kids. And it is and has been and will be continued to used to fundamentally transform the purpose of United States education, shifting curriculum, assessment, school accountability, and data collection away from academics and toward social and emotional learning. Remember the ESSA, it needs to be repealed. So the Battelle for Kids was created by Battelle, which was an applied science and technology company that uses technology to track behaviors. The program was incentivized through policies and grants in the 2015 federal education law, Everybody Succeeds, Every Student Succeeds Act, which replaced No Child Left Behind in 2015. These policies were an extension of what we called the Common Core reforms, and some of Battelle's strategic partners that direct states' adoption of PLG or POG are from CASEL, the Aurora Institute, Accelit-Ed, and KnowledgeWorks. And each of these companies work toward mass data collection of children's values, attitudes, beliefs, disposition, and behaviors with a company called the Data Quality Campaign. Now, the Data Quality Campaign was instrumental in developing what's called the SLDS, or the State Longitudinal Data System, which comes from your local system through your state educational agency and into the U.S. Department of Ed. So Portrait of a Graduate is essentially a program to expand the SLDS and start tracking children into all sorts of social service systems, including health services and into the workforce. Think of what they call the PK20 pipeline. It is going to determine like your child's dreams for them and track them into a certain place in the workforce. And it is the backbone for social credit scores and ESG scores, which we know have been happening for quite some time. Interestingly,
Michelle, thank you for that. That's solid information. You and I were talking about SEL. We were talking about the SLDS long ago, but but whether they had the plan in place or they just continue to use it for more evil yet. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, parents who are concerned about their kids getting a good job and having a good financial future and about their academic outcomes, should perk up their ears right now because, what is being revealed to them is that government schools aren't aren't doing that anymore. They have a different agenda. The agenda goes way back. I mean, it goes back to the enemy who is trying to overthrow this government, and we can talk about that next. But, you know, I I have to substantiate the claim that AI and using social emotional learning and massive data collection is creating a social credit score for every student. And
Yeah.
I'm not making that claim because I think it. I'm making that claim because Christina Bogus proved it with their own words in how they're doing that. And so this is a data privacy issue. This is a data collection issue. They are not just getting statistical information on children. They are gathering data on their thoughts, their beliefs, their emotions, and they are doing this without the consent of parents. And then they are feeding this into AI technology, which is congregating those beliefs on a massive scale from thousands of children. And then they spit out lesson plans to address it, to make the shaping of their beliefs fit more into what the government says is the portrait of a graduate.
Yep.
It's not what a parent thinks is the portrait of a graduate. It's now what the government says is the portrait of a graduate. And I assert that that is not at all the values and beliefs of American parents.
Well, and I know when we talk about this, people think we're talking about the liberal indoctrination. No, this is way past that. This is forming the thought process. This is creating activity. If you've seen any videos about that and AI talking about how they can do that, and if a child isn't answering the questions right, getting the direction they want them to flow, they change the questions until they can change that behavior. If they can't change that behavior, that's when I'm concerned that the SEL was going to hold them back because they won't be allowed to take certain classes. They won't be allowed to get certain scholarships or get into certain colleges. I said a long time ago, I think it might have been with Julie Quist or one of you on one of the shows, I would have been 22, 23, maybe 24, that SEL was the precursor to the ESG card that we heard come out during COVID. That SEL, how they fine honed it in the public schools with what they were doing with our kids and the data collection and the credit scores on our kids. And now they brought it mainstream. So I'm thrilled to hear Christina Bogus justify what we've said, because I think we said it 2 or 3 years ago on this show, maybe with CPL Action. We'll be right back after this break. Michelle Lentz is our guest. Stay tuned. This is our new NutraSwish, Numi NutraSwish. You can find more information at Numi, neumi.com/TTSS, neumi.com/TTSS. One of the products we offer, because you all have different preferences and respond differently to different items. So This is our lavender. It's for ladies anywhere along your journey. No hormones in it, but if you're taking a supplement of hormonal supplement, you might want to check with your doctor. The blue is for anyone over the age of 18. It has glutathione, which is a antioxidant, helps with over 400 cellular functions, and it helps detox heavy metals, forever chemicals, graphene oxide, one of those terms we learned after 2020, and it helps detox glyphosate. The good glutathione helps detox glyphosate. Glyphosate is found in ag chemicals or lawn chemicals, and some are very concerned about possible links to cancers, HPVs, and diabetes. But the blue bottle, the glutathione, helps detox heavy metals, forever chemicals, graphene oxide, and glyphosate. Then there's the mango colored bottle you see on your screen. Numi Neuro helps with your mind, your memory, and your focus. Now, again, after 2020, we heard something about brain fog, a term we'd not heard before. Whether it's from a virus or a vaccine, many have found relief, a little help with Numi Neuro, the mango colored bottle. When used with the blue bottle, it is so positive that the American Brain Council wrote about it and it looked like an endorsement. Though we're told they don't write endorsements, it was simply a positive review of what they saw. You can find more information at neumi.com/TTSS. neumi.com/TTSS for the Tamara Scott Show. Why? Because we want you feeling your best. And when you use that TTSS link, you help us be our best. All right, Michelle Lentz, Child Protection Action, is my guest today, cplaction.com. Michelle, take us further.
Well, you were prophetic in what you said back in 22, 23. And, so let's just ponder that for a minute. Back in 2014, the Child Protection League took out a full-page ad in our largest newspaper in Minnesota, and it was a picture of a shower wall, and written on the shower wall, it said, "A male wants to shower next to your 15-year-old daughter. Are you okay with that?" And then we put the contact information for all of the people on the board of the Minnesota State High School League, because they were considering a policy to allow boys to compete on girls' sports and travel with them and use their locker rooms. And we were called fearmongers for saying that back in 2014. And if you fast forward to the last few years, what came true? Then after that ad, we took out another ad, and this showed a picture of a teenage girl softball player sitting in the dugout, and it said, "Is this the end of girls' sports?" And it had the same issue about the Minnesota State High School League. We were able to defeat it, but of course the enemy never stops, and they started suing school districts to force them to allow boys to play on girls' sports. And you fast forward 10 years, and it came true. And so when we say today that AI mixed with SEL, turbocharged with frameworks like Portrait of a Graduate, are a way that they are going to change the values and beliefs of of children, and create a portrait of a graduate that is nothing like what parents today would want their children to be. And all you have to do is look at all of the stories that are coming out about high school kids leaving school and protesting to see the result of this kind of pedagogy. This kind of curriculum. This is what they're teaching children. And so I think the best way to demonstrate what Portrait of a Graduate is and how it collects data and uses AI to manipulate the thinking of children would be to play the next clip, if we could.
All right.
It's about 3 minutes.
Okay, Thomas?
They're going to uncover the hidden growth that many traditional surveys overlook. And the question is, how do they uncover it? Well, they extract the language processing signals. They validate decision making, and they put them into a cluster, and then they align these with rubrics to achieve accuracy in what they are measuring. Notice this is the Harvard making common carrying common project. They're measuring empathy. They're also measuring pro-social motivation, and it's super important that you understand even the making carrying common project, what that is and how it works. But these are natural language processing. They're interlinked and they are collecting massive amounts of data. They called it a data lake. And they spoke to us about actionable data and from raw input. So imagine your child says, for example, what was a time that you faced a problem and how did you overcome it? And then the child has to disclose something. Well, if they don't disclose enough or don't disclose the right stuff, then AI reformulates that question to prompt them again. So they get this raw data, they put it in that three-dimensional chart up here in number 2, and then they process it, and then it becomes actionable, which spits out the next lesson as you're coming in and produces this cyclical thing. And you really need to think about Portrait of a Graduate is collective goals for graduate. So we want every child to look the same. And when I say that, I cannot say enough. You need to think about Mao's China in your head. Every child needs to think the same and look the same and believe the same. And their mindset is ultimately a requirement for their success. It's Portrait of a Graduate is a framework that is fundamentally incompatible with the idea that hopes, dreams, and aspirations belong solely to the student or his family, and it's not controlled by a community or a government-approved framework. Super important to remember that. When we think about this, I want you to notice the amount of massive data collection they're doing through the Portrait of a Graduate framework. They spoke about quantifying what portrait evidence looks like. You can read this here. What I want to draw your attention to is this form here, Pathway Insights and Analytics. There is a complete framework that tells a child what they are going to do or how they are scoring in these different elements. And there are many, and of each one of those, there's sub-elements. And if you are scoring well, you get special privileges. For example, you could be a kindness captain. And a kindness captain is defined. Your heart knows no bounds. Your compassion enriches the lives of everyone around you. It goes on and on. You're going to be a beacon of goodwill and humanity. You'll also notice that they produce a score for the child as they move through the system, not only the three-dimensional system, but also the score that will allow them different privileges inside the building that is activating these Portrait of a Graduate frameworks or these personal competency-based frameworks. And this student is at 22% completion of just this course. And it's Foundations for Leadership. He's spoken 520 words. He's recorded 4 minutes. And based on his highly private disclosure, he has earned a score of 686. If you cannot read it, the framework here says compassion, curiosity, gratitude, purpose, perspective taking, grit, and growth mindset. So they are very much so measuring things that are outside the academic framework. Again, talking about that fundamental shift from academics to the paint by number child. So
a fundamental shift, Michelle Lenz.
Mm-hmm.
And she proved it right there, what you said. She's proving what we said years ago when we said they will shift it, they will change the lesson till they get the student where they want them. And then it's like the ESG card. She just proved it, didn't she?
Yeah, and those weren't her slides. Those were pictures of slides she took when she went to the school board, one of the school board national conventions, and where this stuff was being presented. And so academics to them doesn't mean what academics means to us anymore. And we have to be aware of that. And one of the things that if people go to our Rumble channel and watch this presentation video that is on there, you'll get a lot more information. But these students have to upload videos of them talking, answering these questions, and AI then takes not just the words they said, but it analyzes their emotions, it analyzes their intent, and feeds all of that into that triangle of data processing, which then spits out lessons that are designed to move those beliefs in a certain direction. And so this is education today in our government schools. And this is why our students are graduating and they can't read and they can't do math.
And they're frustrated. And they're frustrated, they have anxiety. It's not helping them emotionally at all.
And these behavioral things that they measure, grit and resilience and cooperation and all of these things, and the social emotional learning core competencies, these are good attributes to have, right? This is what a Christian world used to teach as virtue. And our public school system took all of that out. Yeah. And now they're putting it in, but it is not coming from a Christian worldview. And, that is the fundamental core of what we're dealing with.
Yeah. They're putting in the results of Christian learning. They're trying to achieve the results of Christian learning without the Christian foundations. They're missing the anointing. AI doesn't have the Holy Spirit. It's not the connection with the kids that the Creator has with them. It will not work. We've got to be right back. We'll be back with Michelle Lentz. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Is the government tracking you? Do they have access to all your data? Well, if you go to worldviewtalk.com, you'll find out about a cell phone company that, does not store your data. They don't do that. This is what they're known for. They don't store your data. You have privacy. You're not being tracked. That's why a lot of folks are turning to worldviewtalk.com. You'll find their prices are very competitive. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com. Again, worldviewtalk.com. Oh, while you're there, not only do they have cell phones that aren't tracking you, you can find out about how to get a satellite phone. Should the whole system go down and you want to communicate with a family member or a loved one, you might want to have a satellite phone. Or how about their solar generators? They have great solar generators. Check them all out right now. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com.
Michelle Lentz. Michelle, we have maybe 5 to 7 minutes, 6 minutes left in this segment. I want to hand it right back to you to get more information.
Well, I think that is an overview without a deep dive, right, into the newest phase of learning in our government school systems. And it should concern everyone, regardless of whether you have kids in the school or you don't, because this is AI is here until God stops it. And in our school systems, it's a violation of so much, but especially students' privacy, kids' privacy. And, so we think parents should think twice about having their kids in a school that is using systems like that. And, the reality of our world today is that there is an enemy that is coming after the kids. They are the number one target of the people who want to destroy this country. You talked about the destruction of our farmland, the Convention of States. We are being attacked on every front. But you know what? they aren't going to win because we have the truth. And so the Child Protection League, it's our firm belief that it is going to be when the people of this country unite in the protection of children that this turns around. And so we created a campaign that's at our cpleducation.com website, and it's called Child Protection League Join the Movement. And basically what it says is that our children are in danger, and that the Join the Movement campaign is uniting people across the country to get informed and help protect them from trafficking, online exploitation, violence, bullying, medical abuse, indoctrination, and more. These are all the different areas that kids are being attacked from and that families are being attacked from. It's nothing new. Whether you call it communism or globalism, the enemy said decades ago how they were going to destroy this country. And the infiltration of our education system, the sexualizing of children, the undermining of families, the weakening of marriage, those were all their goals. And they're far advanced in their plan, but they can't win. However, you and I and parents and citizens who are aware and who are answering the call to step forward and stand in the gap for this generation of children, we know that we're on the winning side. And so we have a conference coming up in April. People can find out about that at the website. And Laura Logan's our keynote speaker. We're bringing in 5 speakers from out of state. It's both online and in person, so you can register to watch it virtually, or you can come in town and find your people, and be with us, because it's important for this patriot movement to be together and to encourage one another. And so, these in many ways are dark times, but these are not hopeless times, especially when you're fighting the fight on this side of truth. We are going to win in the end with God's help. But the children of this generation are counting on you and me and other courageous Americans to stand up and take action.
Thank you, Michelle. You've done the hard work. CPL Action has done the hard work. They go out and find and collect and research the data to make sure what they're telling you is accurate. Then they get it in a presentable formula to you. They've done the hard work. Now it's up to you to do the courageous work, because pulling your kids out of school isn't always easy. And I hear parents asking their kids questions that will make the kids want to stay in school. Don't you want to stay with your friends? Don't you want to be involved? I'm telling you, when you trust God with the children he gave you, he will bless you so much more than anything you've ever thought about for your kids. Whether it's an activity, a sport, he will make a way for you. And I will just tell you, keeping them in the school is not healthy. It's flat out not healthy. To every pastor out there, I encourage you, you've got the building. It sits empty most of the week. Please pray about and consider starting a school in your building. K through 6, if nothing else, for a start. This is where we're at right now. We are at war, and we've got to quit sitting back. I pulled up Esther 4:14. Everybody talks about for such a time as this. They overuse it. They don't read the next line that says, if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come for this royal position for such a time as this. So that's a new international version, and I don't usually read that one, but I'm just telling you, well, thank you. You are so amazing, Thomas. There you are right there. If you don't step up, I mean, Michelle says we win. Yes, we know who wins. We know the end of the story. But if you don't step up, it doesn't mean help is going to come for you and your family. It's not the pastor's job to save your kids, and they've proven, frankly, that they're not willing or able or even seeing the danger in many cases. This is up to you as parents. God only gave you so many kids, and your kids are the only thing that you can take to heaven with you. only they have to earn their way there on their own. And that's by your teaching and your training. Michelle, thank you for joining me today. Great information once again, as always. And you mentioned your upcoming event. Give it to us one more time. If people, I'm so sad I can't be there. I hate to miss it.
No, I know it's terrible. CPLeducation.com, Child Protection League, join the movement conference on April 25th. So virtual or online, you'll get all the details there. And all we have to do is say yes to what God is asking us to do today, and we win.
That's true. And you mentioned your Rumble channel. If people want to go into depth and watch more of those videos, what is your Rumble channel?
Yeah, look up Child Protection League or at CPL Action on Rumble, and it should be the first or second video listed, just recently posted. Or you can go to any of our social media and probably find the link to that, and at our website, cplaction.com.
Thank you for the great work you all are doing with that organization. To everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. We laugh, we say we're not an easy show to listen to. My husband tells me, you talk about very tough topics. It's not like it's just fluff. No, I don't do fluff. Time is short. At the same time, we have adult conversation, full-on sentences, and topics we discuss in whole. And we talk about many of them before the mainstream media ever even knows they're occurring. You, to watch, are a very courageous individual. Thank you. If you don't have control over your kids or your grandkids going to a public school, pray about it. Just pray about it. Pray God's hedge of protection around them, and that other doors and opportunities will open up, and that hearts will change to get them out of that danger. As we tell you, love boldly, live boldly, love better, laugh bigger, be encouraged, and never be complacent.